Leonie Dawson refuses to be categorized the podcast. My queens, today for something a little bit different, I am going to be sharing with you the full audio recording from my recent free workshop, Cash Crunch. This is for you if you are in money stress and feeling a lot of financial pressure at the moment. It's to give you lots of ideas on how to save money, make money, and maybe even thrive a little. Now, if you want the full video workshop with all of the slides and the worksheets, you can go to leoniedawson.com/cashcrunch and you can get it all there totally for free. So I hope you enjoy. I love you and you've got this. Good morning, beautiful humans. I am so thrilled to have you all here. What a blessing and what a joy to spend time with you. For those who don't know, this is going to be a free workshop called Cash Crunch, how to save money and make money even when times are tough. And I want you to know I'm not going to be selling anything on this call. I'm not going to be promoting you to join any of my other programs or anything like that. I just wanted to offer this in service and in love and give you some advice on from what I know about making money. I was a millionaire and a self-made multimillionaire by the time I was in my early 30s, and I've learned a lot about money. And I want you to know I wasn't born good with money, and it was something that I had to learn along the way, and a whole bunch of systems and things like that. So I'm really honored to be able to share this with you. And please feel free to tag a friend in this as well if they're needing some advice and inspiration, and if they're going through a bit of a tough money time. Totally get it. They can join the club, eh? Okay, so I want to begin as always, by acknowledging that I live and work on and create on the lands of the Gubbi Gubbi people, who are the traditional and ongoing custodians of the lands and seas where I am. And I want to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And because we're spread out all across the globe, I would love to do the same and acknowledge the traditional custodians and the elders of the lands and seas where you are. If you're not sure who the traditional custodians are, if you go to native-land.ca, this URL down the bottom, you can find, it's a beautiful world map, and you can find the traditional custodians there. Here in Australia, the First Nations people say that it makes the spirits of the land happy to hear the traditional name. Plus, it's just a really important acknowledgement to do. So we're going to be covering in this workshop what to do when you're paralyzed in fear around money, how to reduce expenses and increase income. I'm going to give you 50 ideas to do that. It's going to be a mix of mindset and practical. I'm not going to sell you on anything. Feel free to share it with friends who need it. Yes, this is going to be recorded. Yes, you can get it free. You can get all of the slides as well, so you don't have to take all of the notes. If you go to leoniedawson.com/cashcrunch, you can get everything for free there. Just sign up there. So why should you learn from me? I am a multi-award-winning entrepreneur. I am a global best-selling author. And as I shared, I became a self-made millionaire in my early 30s and a multi-millionaire soon after. If you want to get the most out of this workshop, monofocus unless you're taking action. Take notes, give yourself deadlines, find yourself an accountability buddy in the comments, and take action from it, because that's where you're actually going to get results. I want to acknowledge as well that, firstly, I have a whole bunch of unearned privilege, and because I have been wealthy for a decade now, there is definitely going to be blind spots for me. but I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's helpful and practical. And I also want to acknowledge that for marginalized communities like Black, Indigenous, people of color, the LGBTQIA plus and disabled communities, there are extra barriers to creating wealth and receiving income. So I want to acknowledge that, and these tips are still going to apply. I just want to acknowledge that there is, can be extra barriers. So the first thing I want to begin with as well, I had a dream last night before I did this. I just woke up. I don't know if you can tell. Hi. But first, I really want to just have a moment of intention setting. So if you want to put your hands on your heart, if you feel like it, take a deep breath in. Just grounding into yourself and breathing into your belly. May all beings be at peace. May this time together provide comfort, connection, guidance, inspiration. May we be supported by our angels, our ancestors, our guides. May we connect in with the parts of ourselves that are strong, courageous, and innovative to deal with challenges. May we give ourselves comfort as we experience stress. May we practice exquisite self-care, especially when things are hard. And even though we may be experiencing some level of financial stress right now, may we know that times will change, things will change, and that we are safe, we are loved, and we are whole. Blessings. And if you want to rub your hands together just to come back into the room. So you might be wondering, like, why am I so freaked out about money right now? And I want you to know, like, I don't want to repeat all of the news, but you're not alone if you're feeling financial stress. The cost of living is up, interest rates are up, mortgages and rents are up. It all's just become a little bit tighter, especially kind of coming from the back end of something has been a bit more of a boom period. Now, the thing is, when like your brain is reacting in the same way as though a T-Rex is coming after you. When your safety is under threat, you freeze, fight, flee, or if you're one of the lucky ones to have a trauma response, winner, fawn. Because this is like, if you look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, try and say that 10 times at 6:30 in the morning. When we don't have money, when we're concerned about paying rent, when we're concerned about being able to pay our mortgage, when we're concerned about homelessness, when we're concerned about being able to eat, this is the very base level of a human need, the physiological level and the safety level. And so when those are triggered, it's as though as T-Rex is coming after us, because it's that same like safety and physiological centers that are going off. And that will all trigger your amygdala. Your amygdala is your lizard brain, your reptilian brain. It's right down back at the base of your skull. It's what deals with like, I'm going to die. but it has no capacity for any other kind of creative or innovative thinking. So when you're in freak out mode, your brain is paralyzed and you can't think of new ideas and problem solve and that kind of stuff because you literally don't have any blood in those areas. It's all just like pumping from your center. So rest, play, and self-care is paramount to getting your brain back online, to coming back out of lizard brain so that you can start accessing more parts of your brain that can help you be more creative and innovative and problem solve and that kind of stuff. So, some ways that you can exhibit self-care. And of course, self-care doesn't need to cost anything. It can be having loving connection with you and your friends or your beloveds, baths, prioritizing sleep, being out in nature in some small way, trying to witness, a little bit of wonder or enchantment in nature. Having a social media detox is always a good way, and limiting your news because watching more news or just being on, every Facebook forum or constantly talking about the stress that you're under in a kind of a bad kind of way, or hearing other people's stress is going to keep you back in the lizard brain. And we want to try and bring your brain back online again. So here's the good news. Our ancestors have already gone through so many hard times. This is a photo of my grandmother. She's the one on the left, and her sister, Sally, on the right. And I put her in because so I think of my gran so often in terms of the things that she went through. Our ancestors went through wars, poverty, famine, racist and sexist laws. When my grandmother was born, there was a whole bunch of financial restrictions against women, which is just freaking ridiculous. And yet she persevered anyway. So this is a time for us to remember the wisdom of our ancestors and their ways as well. My grandmother was born into a poor farming family. She was physically abused by her father. She tried to run away, and the police found her. And when she did marry, it was during World War II. And she worked on army camps. She lived in a tent with her 2 young children and her husband. At some point, they had to travel to a major capital city, and they didn't really have any money. And when they got into town on Christmas Eve, there was no hotel that they could afford to go to. And my grandmother, being the resourceful and chatty woman that she was, marched to the police station with her 2 young children and her husband and said, I need you to let me sleep in a jail cell for the night because at least it'll be safe. And we can't live anywhere else. We can't stay anywhere else tonight. And the police officers let her do that. And she said that her and my grandfather stayed up all night just slapping the mosquitoes away from their 2 sons, Trevor and Alan, as they were sleeping. But she got through it, and better times came. And she was able to be creative and innovative. And she also could find so much joy and humor in things as well. So I think of my grandmother often. And you too have ancestors that have gone through some really full-on shit. And guess what? They've gotten through it. This is true throughout all of human history. It's not just the wars. It's not just like our recent ancestors. It's our This is like the history of human civilization. Shit has happened again and again and again with even just trying to stay safe from animals and for finding food and storing food during dry seasons. We, as humans, are born to innovate, persevere, and problem solve. We have survived and thrived even when things have gotten hard. And every single one of your ancestors was successful in that. Isn't that incredible? Since the beginning of time. So we know that times might get tough, but we are tougher. So let's think about some new perspectives. Just some quotes I brought up around recessions and difficult economic times just to inspire you. Richard Branson says, in times of recession, there are massive opportunities and fortunes to be made. Walt Disney says, I've heard there's going to be a recession. I've decided not to participate. I love that. I absolutely love that. And Eric Thomas says, I've made more money than I've ever made in my life during a recession. Right now, there are new possibilities available to you. And I am definitely like a Pollyanna and even look a little bit like a Pollyanna. But I always see the potential and be like, oh, what if this was actually an amazing opportunity? And what if this was a wonderful time to streamline, to declutter, to consume less, to use what you have, to downsize, to improve money systems, to cook more, to eat more vegetarian food, to go bushwalking instead of going to the shops, to create new income streams, to double down and do better in our businesses and set ourselves up even better for the future. I want you to know when times are tight, there are two options. You can reduce expenses, or you can increase income, or you can do both. So I'm going to give you some ideas now of reducing expenses and increasing income. So we'll start off with reducing expenses. And some of them you might have already thought of. That's totally okay. And some of them might be new. So just writing down anything that feels like an actionable for you to do right now, one that's going to work for you, or it might give you an idea for something else that you could do. So you could try doing a no spend or a low spend challenge. I do these kind of regularly because I think it's a really important practice to do. And I think there's some beautiful soul lessons to learn in it as well. And I've written about some of my low spend challenges over the years, if you're inspired to read about those. And I also have some book recommendations if you are a total book nerd like me and love to read people's stories. So you can also take this opportunity to review all your subscriptions. What I love to do is I have a little spreadsheet that some of my customers, some of my students have, and I write down like all the subscriptions I have, and then I calculate how much everything costs per year, and then I look at whether I can reduce the cost of it. And there's two ways that you can reduce the cost. One is checking your plan and making sure that you are on the right plan, or seeing if you can reduce your plan down to a lower plan, especially in software. You can also contact them and ask for a rate reduction and just say, I'm considering canceling. Are you able to reduce the rate, and see if you can get a rate from that, or if you can cancel. And whatever those three things I do, I make sure that I mark it in my spreadsheet and work out how much per year I'm saving from that, cancel or reduction. And then I go through like every single thing I have and I total up everything I've saved. And I always manage to save between $500 and $1,000, if not more, from doing this challenge. I have a business, so I have business subscriptions as well. And at one point with my business subscriptions, I was able to reduce $12,000 from my subscriptions. And most of that was from just lowering plans. Wild, right? $12,000 a year. Insane. And so you can review all your expenses as well, ask for rate reductions on all expenses. If you're in a very, very tight spot and like you'll be able to get more money in the future, you can talk to places like the tax office, council, anyway that you've got kind of a large possible, expense coming up, like if you've got to pay tax or rates or whatever, and you can ask for a hold on that until you can pay for it. They'll only say yes or no. The tax office is here to just try and help you not go bankrupt. So they're usually pretty forgiving, but you need to actually communicate with them. You can also ask your bank for an interest rate reduction, or you can shop around and see if you can get a better interest rate on credit cards, on mortgage, on loans, all those kinds of things. And if they don't, you can just say to them straight up, I'm considering leaving the bank for a better interest rate. And if you shop around, you can tell them what interest rate you want and say, if you can't match that, then I do need to leave. You can also talk to a financial advisor if you are in absolute dire straits. Usually your bank often supplies them for free. So of course they have a little bit of a vested interest, but they can give, they do kind of specialize in when people are in dire straits. And so you can access those services for free. There are other financial services, even here in Australia. I know Scott Pape, the Barefoot Investor, now spends his time doing that. So if you're in dire straits, there are absolutely services that you can contact for them to give you advice as well. There's also the FIRE movement, which is Financial Independence Retire Early. And they really focus on, firstly, being super frugal and reducing a whole bunch of expenses. And frugal can be, I'm not a wildly frugal person, but I definitely follow some of these principles because it's super helpful. And what it does is it allows them to have more time to, it gives them more money that they can then invest and eventually retire early from that. But whether you want to retire early or not, I think there's some really useful insights and examples. If you love books, these are two of my favorite books in that category. Otherwise, they both have blogs as well. There are a lot of FIRE blogs around, including Money Mustache and 1,500 Days to Retire. And there's quite a few. Google FIRE movement or Financial Independence Retire Early blogs, and you will find them. I love to read them. They're fascinating. In particular, the Frugal Woods blog she does financial case studies of people that write in, and they're in all different financial situations, and is absolutely fascinating to read. So this is really a time that we can explore our creativity, our innovation, and develop our skills. We can look at homemade food, batch cooking, reducing meat eating, creating instead of consuming, using op shops, buying secondhand, using the library, mending, using all the art and craft materials you already have. I don't want to call you out at all. But if you're like me, we probably have enough to use for the rest of our lifetimes. So we could use this opportunity to use what we have. We could do clothing swap parties. We could have picnics instead of going out to restaurants. We could use nature as our entertainment source instead of shops. We can just use what we have already, and we can do things like using repair cafes. One of my dear friends is so handy and crafty, and so she volunteers her time at repair cafes, and she, like, people will bring in toys and jewelry and all manner of things, and she will fix it. Spoiler alert, she is a Virgo. Virgos are incredible. And here's the amazing thing about, like, all these skills that can save you money, right? Is that they are also better for the environment, which is just incredible. Two more books that I wanted to share with you. The Moneyless Man by Mark Boyle. He has written another book called The Way Home as well. And he did a year of living without money, and it was incredible. And then he did a year of living without technology of any kind. Also incredible. And The Man Who Quit Money by Mark Sundin. I'm not saying you need to quit money, but it is absolutely fascinating to read these stories and to hear about ways people have been incredibly innovative and resourceful. So those are some ideas to help you to reduce expenses. I'm gonna have some water. So let's talk about some ways for you to increase income now. So if you have a business right now, spoiler alert, you can't coast in business right at this point. And for a lot of businesses that I know, they had really big boom periods during COVID because online shopping took off. It might have been different here in Australia as well. So here in Australia, our government did a lot of grant giving, and they did like JobKeeper and payments to businesses and employees and that kind of stuff. And so it was definitely like a boom period for many businesses in Australia. And because we were all staying home as well, we had long lockdowns. Everyone was bored out of the brains, and we all bought shit. And lots of industries had massive years. And now we are looking at, a potential recession or a lower growth. And so if you've got a business, you might have been like, whoa, nailing it during COVID, but you're going to have to do more. Now, you're actually going to have to double down, and you're going to have to do marketing. And if you've been doing marketing, great. You're going to have to do marketing better in order to achieve results. If you've been relying on word of mouth only during boom times, you're going to have to sell. You're going to have to learn how to sell. I don't want to burst your bubble, but that's what's going to have to happen. You may have to market more to get you the dollar results that you want, but this is going to give your business momentum for future years. Now, people always say like, oh, is it time for me to start a business? Yeah, absolutely. Should you leave your job to start a business? No. And this is not just during a recession. And this is what I say all the time. Do not leave your job to start a business. Build it on the side. Don't put so much pressure on your business to make money ASAP. I started selling online in 2002. I started blogging in 2004. I started, kind of getting more serious about earning online in 2007, I'd say. And I didn't leave my government job until 2010. So it took many years for me to build up my business on the side for me to go, yep, it's time to, give up my job entirely. Instead, I reduced my days at work when I could, as my business grew, and I knew I could comfortably take that shift. And I'm so grateful for it because it meant that I could explore and play and experiment in my business without just like being in the T-Rex is coming to get me mode, because it just freezes you up entirely. Instead, I could be creative and innovative and try try new things. And so I'm really excited about the idea of jobs being the early investors in our business, to help us explore. And here's the beautiful thing, right? Because I never had full-time hours to grow my business, I've never worked full-time hours. I only left when I had a baby who didn't sleep. um, and um, and that was okay because I'd only ever had like 10 hours a week or so to grow my business. And so I built my business in that time, and I knew that I could continue doing it that way. And so I've only ever worked about 10 hours a week in my business, even now when I could work full time, but I'm not going to. Um, so give yourself the gift of staying in your job. If your job is absolutely demeaning and fucking you up, and leaving you exhausted at the end of the day, see if you can swap to something that is, move into a job that is less taxing so that you have, you don't want to just like at the end of the day. But use it as like early investor and know that you're learning skills as you go, which is really helpful. So I wanted to give you 50 side hustle ideas as well. Don't freak out about having to write all of these down. If you go to leoniedawson.com/cash crunch, and pop your name and email in there. After this is done, I'll send you the recording and I'll send you the slide deck as well so that you can review all of these goodies in your own time. So some ideas: you could design and sell t-shirts on Teespring, sell your expertise on Clarity.fm, become an expert on Just Answer. You could private label products and drop ship them on Amazon. You could host international students and be paid. So if you're in Australia, Oz Homestay or Student Accommodation Services Australia, I've got a friend who has done this as their income source while they homeschooled their kids, and they have they get a couple of $1,000s a month from hosting students like this. So amazing. You can also become a virtual assistant. You can rent out your room, house, or tent on Airbnb. You can let people camp in your backyard or land using Camping, UCamp, or HipCamp. Give people lifts using Uber or Lyft or Sheba. You can do errands for people on Airtasker or TaskRabbit. I've hired people on there for random stuff. It's the best. You can do online jobs through Fiverr, from social media, graphic design, illustration, voiceovers, translation, programming, and more. I have used Fiverr a lot for different things. I've gotten like tarot card readings on there. I've gotten my husband drawn as a Simpsons character just for lols. All different kinds of fun stuff. You can sign up for Postmates and deliver stuff for people. You could do food deliveries using services like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Deliveroo. You can sell your art as prints and products at Redbubble, Zazzle, Society6. You can take online surveys through Survey Junkie. You can teach courses on Udemy. You can promote books, courses, and software to earn cash with affiliate. So if you like, the stuff that you like online, if you share about it with a friend using like a special link that they give you, then you get a sign-up fee. I do this. I've sent out nearly $700,000 to my affiliates just to thank them for sharing about my courses and stuff with their friends and their clients and things like that. So, people like create whole businesses just around sharing affiliates, like stuff that they're an affiliate for. You can also share a product that you love as an affiliate, like Thermomix or essential oils or makeup or clothes. And some of those are like in, kind of network marketing businesses. You don't need to build network marketing stuff underneath you per se. You can just earn cash from those things as well, not just like the online courses and software and books and things like that. You can do user testing with websites like Analysia, Startuplift, and user testing. You can offer cleaning services locally. You could tutor with Tutor Finder. You could open a high interest savings account. You could do freelance jobs through SmartCrowd, ClickWorker, and Upwork. You can sell thrift store or op shop finds on eBay. You could offer ironing services locally. You could sell handmade arts and crafts on Etsy. You can also sell craft supplies on there. You could offer gardening services locally, do online transcription at rev.com. You could use micro investing services like Acorns, Fundrise, Stash Invest. You could offer pet sitting through Rover. You could teach English as a second language online through QKids, Data ABC, and Teachaway. You could manage social media for businesses. You could start a podcast and then either sell advertising on it or sell your own shit. You could do house and farm sitting. You could license your photos on Stocksy, Getty, Shutterstock, or 123RF. And you could license your artwork through Shutterstock or Dreamstime. You could run a Kickstarter to fund a creative or an entrepreneurial project. You could be a designer on 99 Designs. You could offer babysitting services locally. You could sell art, prints, digital downloads on DeviantArt. You could do tasks on Mechanical Turk. You could do email marketing with a niche newsletter, selling advertising, affiliate marketing, or your own products. You could sell your own old smartphone or older tech. You could sell off extra shit around your house because you'll be surprised. There is 100% $2,000 in your garage that you could sell. You could write a book or self-publish using Kindle Direct Publishing. You could tutor or mentor or create a course in things that you know. You could start a YouTube or a Twitch channel. You could advertise for companies with a car wrap on websites like Carvertise. You could salvage and recondition and resell furniture or cars, etc. It's like one TikTok that I follow where a girl is like selling her, is trying to pay off all of her student loans by buying furniture off like Facebook Marketplace or whatever that's just a bit crappy and doing it up and flipping the furniture. And it's been fascinating. She was able to make so much money so quickly. It was awesome. You could offer washing services on websites like thelaundrylady.com.au. This one has changed my life. I was looking around for laundry services and it's amazing. I just book online and there's a bunch of people around here who do laundry for other people. And I'll do washing, ironing, folding, whatever you like. And so now a really nice smelling lady comes to my house and she just picks up my stuff and takes it home and she washes it and then she brings it back to my house. And I said to her, how come you make everything so nice and so clean? Like I've never managed that. And she said, I love washing. I love doing the washing. And you know, it really set off my Virgo bells. I was like, Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. But I love that she loves to do something that I don't love doing. And she gets paid for it. Yay! You could offer a weekly meal service. I have a friend now that she's a homeschooler and she's in a homeschooling community and she has to cook a lot of special foods for her kids because they have food allergies. And a lot of mums in the homeschooling community are like, oh God, I wish I could get somebody to cook that for me. It's so exhausting. And she was like, I can do that for you. And so she is doing it for friends and cooking them meals, like batch cooking meals, and they can all go into the freezer or be eaten straight away. And it's an amazing income source for her, and it provides such a huge service for people as well. And here in Australia, some of those people like could even have like NDIS funding to pay for that if their kids have got extra needs. One thing that I like to do, just because it's fascinating, is if you go to gyms.net/services and you look at all the franchises under there, you don't need to buy a franchise, but you could offer those services. Incredible. And you can use micro investing sites as well. So I just want you to like see the possibilities. There are so many ways that you can increase your income and grow your income, add another income stream in, and it's all going to like reward you later. And like help get you out of a cash crunch as well. And of course, if you're in a job, now is the time to approach your boss and say, "Hey, I would like a rise." Cost of living, all those things, and present a bit of a case about why you deserve a raise or what you could add value to if you had a raise. So I want you to ask yourself, what can you take action on today? What's the lowest hanging fruit for you to make or save money? And what would enable you to create extra income today? And look, I want to be realistic with you. Like sometimes you do have to do things that you don't want to do in the short term to create a better long term. Um, you know, for me, even as a person who is somewhat wealthy, um, looking at like interest rates, and we have two properties because we also have some family members that are in our other property, and we don't rent it out at market rate at all. And the mortgage rates are going up, and I was feeling more and more and more stressed, and I really wanted to create the money to be able to pay everything off quickly and all that kind of stuff. And it just became more and more pressure. And so, I had to move things around, and I didn't want to have to move things around, but I had to make some changes in order to be able to get things to a point where it's not so stressful, and I feel like we're in a more secure financial position. And that's okay, because it's just adjusting for where things are at for right now. So surround yourself with other action takers. It's not going to be super helpful for you to constantly just be around people who are complaining about not having money. Like you can say to them, "Hey, me too, totally feel you. Let's take action. Let's do something different. What could you do differently to save or make money?" And get inspired by that innovation. And some people will be able to rise to that challenge, and some people would much prefer to stay in kind of victim mode about it. Or they're just not at a place where they can like get out of their reptile brain right now. You can always send them this webinar. um, but find other people in the comments, or if you're like, I've got a free group, Leonie Dawson's workbooks, courses and academy, I think it's called, or something like that. And there's like 16,000 people in there. Join there and see if there's anybody else who wants to like take action on making or saving more money from this workshop. Surround yourself with other action takers, because that can help you build so much momentum. So just going over what we've talked about, when your physiological needs of housing and food and water are not being tended to, you are going to feel like a T-Rex is coming after you. So it's very normal to feel stress. Remember that self-care is really important as well, and that our ancestors throughout all of history have been able to create, innovate, and get through hard times, because hard times might be tough, but we are tougher. You really have two options here: to reduce expenses or increase income. And there's so many ways that you can do that. And make sure you grab the recording and the notes at leoniedawson.com/cash crunch. I am thrilled to share them with you. So most of all, I hope this has been of service to you. I hope this has helped bring your brain back a little bit online, feel a little bit less alone in this, and give you a little bit of possibilities and ideas that you could start playing with to change your financial situation. And the blessing of this is that the skills and the mindset, the systems, the streams of income you set up now are going to reward you for years to come. So it's not just through the hard times, but through the good years as well. This is good, and this is important work. Oh, blessings. Now, I am happy to answer questions as well. So feel free to ask questions, and I will stick around probably for a little while um, and help you answer them. Oh, there's 250 people on this. I haven't been looking at the screen. That's incredible. Okay, well, usually you get like 100 people on a webinar, so I'm going to assume that this is a big topic for people right now, and that is completely understandable. Okay. Let me go through all of the comments and see. Oh, my friend Victoria Skydancer says Queen Amygdala is what I refer to it as. Our lizard brain. I love that. You are the best. You're so creative. Sophie says, year-round wild swimming in the river and drumming in the woods does it for me. Ooh, I love the sound of that. Well, I don't love this. I love this. I love the idea of wild swimming. But I'm a very tropical creature. I will only swim when it's so warm. It's like bath water. And I know that cold water is very good for you, but I cannot. Our primal desire for survival, we get through it, but it's time to rise from survival to thrive. I'm ready. Yes, yes. Today is fresh with no mistakes in it. Pollyanna, I love that. That's a beautiful quote. I should write that down and put it above my desk, especially since, I've talked a little bit lately that I've been finding it hard to trust my own judgment because I have made mistakes, and I hate making mistakes. I love this perspective that today has no mistakes in it. Yay! Yay! Lisa says, I didn't know you're on YouTube. I geek out on lots of finance videos. Fire. So your video popped up. What a delight. Oh, what a thrill to hit fire, YouTube. Teresa said shopping around definitely works. Some places I've been loyal to literally said that to me, that loyalty to them no longer counts or helps with reduction. So I walk away. Fascinating. There you go. They're happy to lose a customer. Oh, Nikki Davenport says, what's an op shop? That's the Australian word for it, like a charity shop. Like you go vintage. What's the American word for op shop? People, you donate your clothes there and then people buy that shit at a cheaper price. Educate me. Thrift shop. We don't use that word. Okay. Messy Menopause says, your superannuation people have financial advisors too. I find them great. It's free. My focus is to retire one day. Being a woman, single mum, Aboriginal, like all of us, it can be a maze. Oh, bless you. And I'll have to check it out because I'm definitely I'll have to check out your work because I'm definitely perimenopausal, I think. Kim says, heck yes, free art supplies, right? And then it's exciting to think about the ideas of what you could create with what you already have. It's so exciting. Kathy says, I definitely have enough art supplies for a lifetime. My grandma always said, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. See, they have so much wisdom of what to do in times like this. And I think about visible mending. I saw a pair of jeans that I absolutely love on Cup of Joe, and it was by an author, Catherine something. Anyway, the jeans, they're just her favorite pair of jeans. She's had them for 20 years. And of course, they're like wearing out completely. And so she patches them. And she's like, I spend more time patching these fucking things than I do wearing them. But I do love them. But they're incredible because they're becoming this patchwork. And she also volunteers in hospice centers. And so she just mends her jeans as she's being with people, being present with people. And what a beautiful way to spend the time, honestly. Caro says we have repair cafes here in Holland. Isn't that amazing? And my friend who does it, she did it because she just needed to get out of the house. She was like, I need to do something different with my life. And so she started volunteering. And what a beautiful way to come together as a community, right? Driving now, so no more chatty. I did a year without buying anything new. It was interesting, and wow, I was so lucky. Things come to you right when you need them. Isn't it true? I had we moved into this house, and what's the words? Our washing machine didn't fit in our new laundry, and it has like granite top, and so you put your front loaders underneath there, but we had top loaders, and so I rang around to see how much it would cost to get that part of granite cut out, because it goes across the whole room, and they can't actually do it anymore unless they take out the whole piece of granite, because I don't know, apparently it's really bad for your lungs to cut granite. Anyway, it was going to be a whole palaver and cost us money to do it. So we just thought, well, we'll have to buy new. It's going to be cheaper for us to just buy a new washing machine. And I said, that's fine. Like with our old washing machine, I'll pop it on my Facebook for see if there's any friends who want it. And I don't really want any money for it. And I put it on, and 1 minute later, I had a friend text me and say, I cannot believe that. Are you sure that you want to give away your washing machine? I was like, yeah, of course I do. Why? And she said, my washing machine just broke down. We've had it for 20 years. We have no cash. And so I just went on Facebook to go look in Marketplace and see if I could find a really cheap one. And your post came up saying, free washing machine. And I was like, oh, it's divinely timing. It's divine timing. And she was so grateful and so amazed that it had come to her, and it just brought us so much joy to give it to her as well. Dottie says, that's what happened to me during lockdown. It was ace for my business, and now it's gone so quiet. I'm loving all these tips. Yeah, babes, like here in Australia, like e-commerce stores are taking a massive hit. People who sell products online, that's been a massive hit. So, of course, everyone's going to have to double down and actually do some marketing and do better at marketing and improve and be more strategic and, reduce, like look at their expenses, all that kind of stuff. Joy says, riding out a recession or slow down by having a job is such a wise move. Yeah, I think they're a great idea. Great idea. Nikki says, my day job provides the health insurance and an eventual pension, almost unheard of here in the States. They'll have to pry me out like a tick. Even when I make it big as an indie author, I'm staying until I retire. That is amazing. It's amazing. And I had the best time at work as well. Like sometimes I do miss just the people. I just had such a wonderful time hanging out. My boss was my best mate. We are still besties. She's just coming up in 3 weeks to come and see me, and our kids adore each other, and it's just the best ever. So, and I'm so grateful for the skills I learned from my job as well. Donna says, thanks, Leonie. You reminded me of both of my raw vegan biz years ago when I was a homeschooling mum and a potential NDIS client for my new biz now. It all comes together. Esther says, we can do hard things. We can. And I love that podcast as well. If anyone hasn't checked out the We Can Do Hard Things podcast. Danielle says, this has been great. Thank you so much. Thank you, gorgeous. You're an amazing human. Oh, I'm so honored. Beautiful friend Andrea says, definitely less alone, less scared and overwhelmed, but will take my time to process and act. You are not alone, my friend. Reef Prayer says, this is the first webinar I've been able to catch up with you on. So good. Thank you. Oh, I'm so honored. Oh, thank you, beautiful Amber. Thank you, Carrie. There's so many ways to implement that we don't always think of on our own. And I love to brainstorm and I love to be bossy. Andrea says, do you have family money, joint or individual? Now, this is really personal. It's it's personal to each family and what works best for you and what feels good for you and for your partner. We have always been combined. And I think a reason for that works is because my husband and I are very, very similar kind of money archetypes. We don't have any real arguments about how we spend our money. Both of us are what like Denise Duffield Thomas would call like accumulators. We've never been upset with each other for spending money because we barely spend money. And like I think we sort of have a rule, like, you know, if it's a bigger purchase, we'll talk to each other about it. Otherwise, like if it's under $100, no biggie. But then my husband, he's just the sweetest, most thoughtful human. And he'll be like, oh, I just bought this milk jug on Amazon because I thought I could foam the hot chocolate for the kids. It was $13 delivered. And I'm like, it's fine, babes. It's fine. I think we can get through this. So it works because we have similar money styles, and we totally trust each other not to overspend. But it's different for different partners, and it doesn't mean that your relationship is wrong if you've got a different money archetype at all, or a different spending style. Just working out what's good for you. And for us as well, like we have joint money, and then we also like have a savings goal that we put away for immediately when we get paid, and we do our very best not to touch that. Lindsay says, how important is your mindset or feelings and beliefs around money versus the actions you're trying to make or save money? I think it's a good combination of both, like I think whatever you can do to help raise your money so you don't feel as freaked out is really good. And looking at new ways to look at money, especially like when you've got deep ancestral fears and things like that, that can be really useful to shift. I love Denise Duffield Thomas's work around money, and Amanda Frances, and you don't have to buy their programs or anything. You can get their books. They're fantastic. They're audiobooks. Listen to their podcasts and immerse yourself in their energy. It's a beautiful thing. And Kerry Rowett, my dear friend, has a book called Align and Attract. And for people who are just starting a business, you might find that really, really useful. I love it. And I also we'll book in for a session with Kerry to help me work through some of my money blocks when they pop up as well. Dottie Delightful says, what's the best way to pay off credit card debt? I would make it give yourself like a thermometer of how quickly you can pay it off, and come up with a whole bunch of ideas of ways that you could create more money to pay it off. So if you've got multiple credit card debt, you want to look at the one that's got the highest interest rate, and look at paying that one off first, even if it's a smaller sum. You also want to ask your credit card company if you can get a better interest rate. Sometimes you can also transfer credit card debt to a new place and get zero, get bugger all interest for the first 12 months. And that helps with paying it off. That's what we did. We read a book called The Barefoot Investor when it first came out. It's now massive here in Australia, and overseas too. But we read Barefoot Investor, okay, that's it. We're gonna we cut up our credit cards so we couldn't use them anymore. And of course, you need to have a little bit of savings to be able to do that. And then we just went hell for leather on working out how we could pay them off as quickly as possible. Scott Pape recommends just looking and seeing what you can sell on Facebook Marketplace and creating your Mojo account from there. Mojo is in case shit happens account. and you can use that as well to pay off your credit card debt. And it'd be so fun to do it in the shortest period of time possible, right? And so if you pay off like the highest interest rate one first, and then you can use the payments and the interest that you've saved off that to pay onto the next. And it's like, what's that douchebag called? Dave Ramsey. I'm sure he's not a douchebag. Maybe he is sometimes. But he talks about a debt snowball, about how you pay off one and then you use the money that you were paying off on that to then pay even more onto the next one, and it helps just kill off all your debt. Christine says, do you have a suggestion on how to navigate mum guilt? I've got 3 kids and work around the clock to just barely survive. Oh, my love, I want you to know, your kids are so lucky to have you. They know that their mum adores them so much that she works her heart out to make sure that their physiological needs are taken care of. You are incredible, and you are an amazing example for your children, and they are going to have a whole other perspective of life than and a really valuable perspective, I think. Really important. They're so proud of you. They really are. And they love you and they adore you. And you're doing your very, very best. Okay. Thank you, Lenny. Where on your website will the recording and notes be located? leoniedawson.com/cash crunch. If you just sign up, the opt-in there, and then that way I can email you the how to access the video and the slides when I do that up. Okay. Sue says, for the Australians, Centrelink have great finance people too. They are very helpful. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Sheila says, I'd love to see some of the best Leonie Dawson affiliates and what they do so we can learn from them. It's amazing. They are often they don't have huge businesses of their own, but they just share about my work and talk about how much it's helped them, and they get huge amount of sign-ups through it. Also, if you go to if you sign up as an affiliate, you get access to Affiliate Star, which is a free program in my in Kajabi, my learning platform, and I give you a whole bunch of advice on things that you could do in order to earn more money. Amy says, do you use Procreate for your artwork? What tablet would you recommend to get started on? Yes, I use Procreate and I love it to do all my drawings. And then I compile them into slides using Canva. But all my drawings, I use Procreate. And I have just a basic bitch iPad. I don't have, I ended up buying the iPad Pro, the large version, and it's too big for me. I know, but I love the size of the smaller one. So I tend to use the small one most of all. And my 9-year-old uses iPad Pro to create very detailed drawings of cats doing poos. So money well spent. Oh, bless. Okay. Nikki says, social worker here, finding cheap or free methods of self-care is essential. Okay, my loves, I can hear my daughter crying out there. I think she's anxious about something today. I'm going to go out and connect with her. I hope this has been useful, though. I love you all. I'm behind you all. You have got this, and you can make miracles happen. So give yourself what you need. Make sure you grab the notes after this and start taking action. You've got this. I love you. Bye.